Philadelphia News, team of my heart.
The Philadelphia 76ers are racing against time, and nobody wants to talk about it. Right now, sitting on their roster is a player who could hit a milestone that nobody in NBA history has ever reached before. But it's not the kind of milestone you celebrate. It's the kind that makes you wonder if everything went wrong. This player is about to miss his 500th NBA game before playing his 500th NBA game. Think about that for a second. 500 games on the sideline before 500 games on the court. And here's the thing that keeps Sixers fans up at night. If this actually happens, it might be too late to do anything about it. Because who in their right mind is going to trade for a max contract player who literally can't stay healthy? The Sixers need to make a move, and they need to make it now before this situation goes from salvageable to completely unsalvageable. Let me paint the picture of where we are right now. The Sixers are paying this guy $55 million a year. $55 million! That's more than most franchises spend on their entire bench. And for that money, they've gotten what exactly? Since winning the MVP award in 2023, this player has suited up for just 58 games over 2 seasons. For context, Nikola Jokic played 136 games in that same time frame. You know what you can't do? You can't build a championship team around 58 games. You can't develop chemistry when your best player is in street clothes more often than he's in uniform. You can't make deep playoff runs when you're always wondering if your star is going to be available when it matters most. And the brutal reality is this: it's not getting better. This season, he's played just 33 games so far, and he's currently out again with an oblique strain. At some point, you have to stop calling it bad luck and start calling it what it is, a pattern. But wait, it gets worse, because the Sixers didn't just invest in one injury-prone max contract player, they doubled down. Paul George is making $51 million this year. And guess what? He's been dealing with his own injury issues. So now you've got 2 max contract guys, both north of $50 million annually, and both spending significant time watching games from the bench. That's $106 million in salary for players who can't consistently be on the floor together. If you're Daryl Morey right now, you're looking at this situation and you know something has to change. The question is, what can you actually do about it? Because here's where it gets really complicated. Trading a superstar is never easy, but trading a superstar with this kind of injury history, that's basically impossible. Or is it? Let me walk you through the scenarios, because there are only a few teams that would even consider taking on this kind of risk. First, you've got the desperate teams. Think about the Lakers. LeBron James is in his final years, and they know their championship window is closing fast. Would they mortgage their future for one last shot at a title? Maybe. But here's the problem. They already have Anthony Davis, who's had his own injury struggles. Do you really want 2 big men made of glass on the same roster? That's not a championship core, that's a hospital ward. Then there's the Warriors. Steph Curry needs help, and they've got the assets to make a big move. But Golden State's front office is smart. They've built their dynasty on availability and chemistry. Would they really blow that up for a guy who might play 40 games a year? Probably not. Plus, can you imagine this player and Draymond Green on the same team? That locker room would implode before the first time out.
Now let's talk about the teams that could afford to take a gamble. The Oklahoma City Thunder are young, they're loaded with draft picks, and they're one piece away from being serious title contenders. Could they take the risk? In theory, yes. If it works, they've got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander plus an MVP-level big man, and suddenly they're championship favorites. If it doesn't work, they still have enough young talent and assets to rebuild. That's the kind of trade that could actually make sense for both sides. Then you've got the Spurs. Victor Wembanyama needs a veteran presence, and pairing him with an elite big man could create the most dominant front court in basketball. But here's the thing. Greg Popovich doesn't do drama. He doesn't do injury concerns. He builds culture, not all-star teams that might implode. So yeah, it could work on paper, But in reality, probably not happening. But what if the Sixers went in a completely different direction? What if they said, you know what, we're going all in on Tyrese Maxey. He's 25 years old, he's an all-star, he's proven he can lead this team, and most importantly, he actually plays. You could trade both of your max contract guys, get back a haul of young talent and draft picks, and build around Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, who's just 20 years old, Adem Bona, who's 22, plus whoever you get in return. It would be like going back to the process, except this time you'd already have your young star in place. The irony is almost too perfect. The Sixers spent years tanking to draft a generational talent, and now they might have to trade him to actually win a championship. That's the kind of plot twist that only happens in Philadelphia. Here's what really gets me about this whole situation. Since this player won the MVP, he's missed more games than he's played. That's not an exaggeration, that's just math. And it's not like these are minor injuries either. We're talking about knee issues, back problems, foot surgeries, and now oblique strains. The human body isn't designed to carry that much weight while being that athletic. And at 31 years old, it's not like things are gonna magically get better. Look, I don't want to be the guy who says it's over. I really don't. But when an NBA podcaster like Rob Mahoney says he's saddened by most things surrounding this player's career, especially if it ends up being 500 games missed before 500 games played, and that it would be a fair representation of what the career has been, that should tell you everything you need to know. This isn't hating, this is just acknowledging reality. Now here's where I flip the script, because I know what you're thinking. What if everything actually goes right for once? What if this player comes back healthy, plays 60 games, and looks like the MVP version of himself in the playoffs? What if Paul George finally stays healthy and gives you that elite two-way wing play? What if Maxey continues to develop into a legitimate superstar point guard? What if Nick Nurse, who's already won a championship as a head coach, figures out how to manage all these pieces? What if VJ Edgecombe turns into a steal, and Quentin Grimes maintains that 26 points per game average he had at the end of last season? If all of that happens, the Sixers aren't just good, they're championship favorites in the East. The Cavaliers are young, the Knicks don't have enough firepower, the Magic are still developing. A healthy Sixers team beats all of them.
But here's the problem with that scenario. It requires literally everything to go right. And based on the last 10 years of evidence, when has everything ever gone right? This player missed the entire NCAA tournament at Kansas because of a back injury. He fell to third in the draft because teams were scared of his medical history. He missed his first 2 NBA seasons completely. Since then, it's been an endless cycle of hope and disappointment. Hope that this time he'll stay healthy, disappointment when he inevitably breaks down. At some point, you have to stop believing in miracles and start dealing with reality. And the reality is this: the Sixers have maybe 6 months to make a decision. Do they hold on and hope for the best, or do they make a trade while this player still has some value left? Because here's what nobody wants to say out loud. Every game this player misses, his trade value drops. Every injury report, every setback, every game spent in street clothes makes him less attractive to other teams. Right now, there might still be a team desperate enough or optimistic enough to take the risk. But if he hits that 500 games missed mark, if he becomes the poster child for injury-prone superstars, at that point, the Sixers aren't trading him, they're just hoping he can give them something, anything in the playoffs. And we've seen how that story ends. It ends with another first or second round exit, another summer of what-ifs, and another year older with the championship window getting smaller and smaller. The Sixers are at a crossroads right now, and Daryl Morey knows it. He's one of the smartest executives in basketball, and he's not blind to what's happening. The question is whether he has the courage to make the hard decision before it's too late, because trading your franchise player, your MVP, the guy you've built everything around, that takes guts. But you know what takes more guts? Admitting that the plan isn't working and having the vision to pivot before everything collapses. Maxey deserves a chance to be the #1 guy without always waiting for someone else to come back. These young players deserve to know what their roles are instead of constantly adjusting to whoever's healthy that week. And the fans deserve a team that can actually stay on the court. So yeah, the Sixers need to make a trade before it's too late. And honestly, it might already be too late.
because who's going to trade for a 31-year-old center making $55 million a year who's missed as many games as he's played? The honest answer is probably nobody, and that's the saddest part of all. The Sixers might be stuck with this situation, unable to move forward, unable to go back, just treading water until the inevitable happens. But if there's even a chance that some team out there is willing to take the risk, if there's any possibility of getting value back and building around Maxey and the young core, then Morey needs to pull the trigger. Because every day they wait, every game missed, every injury report makes that possibility more and more unlikely. The clock is ticking, the window is closing, and the Sixers need to decide if they're going to take control of their destiny or just let it slip away. Drop a comment and let me know. Should the Sixers trade him now while they still can, or hold on and pray for a miracle? And if you think I'm crazy for even suggesting this, hit that like button and subscribe, because we're just getting started. This season is going to be wild. Oh, and by the way, we're talking about Joel Embiid. Yeah, that's how serious this situation has become.